I was born in Lodz, Poland on July 2nd, 1935. Lived there with my mother and father and my sister. Sort of typical middle-class life. Remember the most pleasant time that I remember is Sunday afternoons with my father, going for ice cream and balloons and enjoying things that children enjoy. And that was the way. We lived in a very nice apartment, a large building. My father had his own business that he, in the lumber business, which his family was in. And my mother was a housewife. She even had help for my sister and I. So, typical people, as we would think of a middle-class American.
And you took vacations, and there's one lovely photograph of you and Lila, your sister, as children before the war at the beach.
We did. There we have a couple pictures that were saved, and that was in the countryside. And my parents always teased me that I was a daredevil because there was a big German Shepherd there in the country, and I had no fear. I would go into the dog house with the German Shepherd, and it was good times. You know, I was not afraid.
I was born in Poland in a little town, Oleszyce, in 1924.
And it was a multi-ethnic community of 7,000 people.
And we shared, like in equal parts, Polish Catholics, Ukrainian, and Jews. We were all friendly to each other. We lived there many years. But we weren't, like, on social basis, we weren't too close. We were very cordial to each other. People did business with each other. And it was a quiet life. We didn't know anything better, and we didn't have any complaints. Everybody lived their own lives.
And your family?
I had an extended family. I had a big family. I by myself are one of 8, the oldest of 8 children. And we had uncles and aunts, and everybody lived in the same city the whole time. Unfortunately, I am the only one left. From 8 children, I was the only.
I'm coming from a very poor home. My father was a tailor. Well, I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters. And we hardly made a living, but we had a very happy life because we had each other. And I had a lot of friends in school. I was a happy teenager. And I thought I am on the top of the world because I didn't experience no better life. And I thought that is the best I can have. And I was happy with it.
And you told me once that before the war you were a Polish patriot, that you loved Poland.
I loved very dearly, and I was very proud to march for different occasions, holidays, and from the school with our flag. And I was very proud to be a citizen of Poland.
Before the war you were a nurse.
I wanted to be a nurse, but because my parents were very poor, and they couldn't afford to send me to a special school. So I worked during the daytime, and at night I went to Red Cross school. For 2 years I was going to school to be a nurse, and I needed 5 years of school. So then the war broke out, and I couldn't continue my education to be a nurse.
Before the war broke out in the summer of 1939, you thought that Poland would be victorious.
Well, they were talking about a year before in 1938, we heard what is going on already in Austria, and we had a feeling that eventually we will have a war with Germany. But everybody said, don't worry, we will have help from France and England, and we might win the war. And we were so proud of Poland that we didn't want to believe that we're going to lose it.
I came up under anti-Semitic country, whether it was Romania or it was Hungary. I remember when Passover came around, the priest with all his students came around the Jewish neighborhoods.
Before the war?
Before the war. It was still peace, you know. I ain't talking about even before the Germans. They came around and they throw rocks in Jewish synagogues. They throw rocks. I remember we were sitting by the Sabbath meal, and they throw a rock fell right in my father's plate. I even broke the plate, and the soup, everything was gone on his slab, you know, and things like that. So
first, I didn't join the Polish army. Why would I join the Polish army? I hated the Polish army, and I wouldn't join them. I was drafted in the Polish army. I was 21 years old, and physically I was okay, so they drafted me in the Polish army. That was around February or March in 1939. The war broke out September the 1st, 1939. So when I was already 6 months in the Polish army, and then where my hell started, because of the tremendous anti-Semitism, which I didn't felt it as living in Vilna, but I did felt it being in the Polish army. And to give you an example, we had a lieutenant by the name of Walczak, 6 foot tall, a handsome fella, and he had assigned before the war by his office for in Polish and translated in English would be then for Jews and dogs, the entry is forbidden. That was, at that time, they came at Passover. Poland was a democratic country, and all the Jews had to observe Passover, like the Seders and so on. We were then the first year in the Polish army as draftees. We couldn't go on our own. So 4 miles from our camp, they made a Seder, and for 8 days we marched to the Seder, and we had a good meal, a Jewish kosher meal, and then we came back to the barracks. So the sergeant says to us, it's not my fault, but I have orders from the lieutenant and from higher, we have to give you a drill. And all the Poles were looking about, and for 3 hours every day we had a drill. And so it wasn't that nice to have, it wasn't that comfortable to have the good meal, and then we came back and we had a drill because we were Jews.